I come with no other agenda than desperately trying to help people who are.
Often, parents tear up when they see their children grow, and royal parents feel the same way. Kate Middleton and Prince William become emotional, especially when they have watched Princess Charlotte transform from a shy toddler into a confident young royal. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge treasure many touching moments in their daughter's growth. They've seen everything from Charlotte's first confident wave to the crowds to her growing awareness of royal duty. But there's one particular event that stood out the most. Stick around because, by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why. Let's dive in. Some parents are lucky to have relationships with their kids that just give off that extra special vibe. That's exactly how it feels when people see Prince William and his daughter, Princess Charlotte, together. It's not just about being royal or having fancy titles. It's about this warm, genuine connection they share. It's the kind you don't have to look too hard to spot. It's the kind of chemistry that makes people smile because it feels so real. And let's be honest, in a world where royal traditions can feel super stiff and formal, seeing this natural, affectionate side of them is kind of refreshing. But here's the cutest thing about their relationship: William has a special nickname for Charlotte. He calls her mignon. It's a French word that means small, sweet, and delicate, or basically, cute. Kate Middleton and Prince William have faced countless public challenges, but nothing prepared them for the emotional shock of seeing Princess Charlotte's unexpected transformation. Tears flowed, and the world was left wondering, what could possibly have happened to cause such a reaction? Stick with us, because by the end, you'll understand why this transformation touched them so deeply. People first caught wind of this during a visit to the Chelsea Flower Show. Honestly, it just seemed to fit her personality perfectly. You can tell he really sees her for who she is, his one and only little girl, and it's just heartwarming to think about. And it's not just the nickname that shows how close they are. One of the reasons their bond is so strong is because they actually share a lot of interests. For example, Charlotte absolutely loves dancing, and William couldn't be happier about it. It's like a little piece of Princess Diana lives on in Charlotte because, as we know, Diana also loved to dance. William gets such joy from watching his daughter embrace the same passion his mother had. And who can blame him? Isn't it the best feeling when you and someone you love enjoy the same things? It's like it adds this extra layer of connection that words can't really describe. Some of their sweetest moments together are tied to these shared interests. Remember that time they went to a Taylor Swift concert at Wembley Stadium and they were dancing like no one was watching? That says a lot, doesn't it? They also love going to shows at the Royal Opera House and attending big sporting events, like that time they took a helicopter ride to the 2022 Commonwealth Games. Talk about a cool father-daughter adventure. And it's not just about the grand gestures. Even in those everyday moments, you can see how much fun they have together. Now, let's be real, being royal comes with its fair share of challenges. It's not all glitz and glamour. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of rules to follow, and sometimes, a lot of change. But through all that, William and Charlotte's relationship seems to just get stronger. The world has noticed how protective William is of her. It's like this natural instinct kicks in. Remember that time during a public event when he helped fix Charlotte's hair? It was such a small thing, but it spoke volumes about his role as a dad. Royal expert Jenny Bond even pointed out that while William clearly loves all his children deeply, there might be a tiny extra soft spot for his sporty little Charlotte. And let's not forget those big formal royal events where they still manage to show their affection for each other. One moment that really stood out was during King Charles's first Trooping the Colour. Charlotte, without thinking twice, just pulled her dad's hands closer for a tighter hug. Even with all the cameras and all the pomp, it was like they were in their own little bubble. And moments like that just make their bond feel so genuine. And let's be honest, that's no small feat. I mean, how do you raise a kid who's technically a princess while still making sure she gets to have a normal childhood? Yet somehow, Kate does it and makes it look so natural. Like, who else can effortlessly switch between wearing a tiara at a banquet 1 minute and then showing up in jeans for a school pickup the next? You can really see the impact she's having on Charlotte's upbringing too. Their bond is so genuine and real. Remember when they were at Wimbledon together? Charlotte looked a little unsure, and there Kate was, gently brushing her hair aside, whispering a few encouraging words, just being that steady, loving presence. And it's not just those high-profile events either. There are all these little snippets of their life together, the ones that remind you they are family first and royalty second. Kate makes sure to give her children a sense of normalcy, which, let's face it, can't be easy when half the world is watching your every move. But she does it anyway. And the thing is, she's been clear about her priorities since the beginning. Family comes first. It's not just something she says, it's something she lives. 8 years into her role as the Princess of Wales, she still makes sure she's there for the school runs, the Christmas fairs, and those little sports matches. That's the kind of mom she is, no fuss, no frills, just a hands-on, engaged parent who happens to have a pretty high-profile day job. And let's talk about how she teaches Charlotte the whole royal etiquette thing. It's not like she sits her down for a formal lesson in how to wave properly or how to curtsy at a state function. No, instead, she weaves it into everyday life, making it feel as natural as possible. She gives simple, clear guidance before events, just enough so Charlotte knows what to expect but not so much that she feels overwhelmed. And you know what? It works. Charlotte's confidence in public is so obvious. Like during that Westminster Abbey Christmas Carol concert, she was poised, graceful, and honestly, for a kid, that's impressive. Growing up in the royal family could make a child feel like they're carrying the weight of the world, but Kate ensures that doesn't happen. It's not just about teaching protocol, it's about understanding the bigger picture. And that's why this moment left everyone stunned. Charlotte is big on hugs, and those little moments remind us how special she is. When you think back to her earliest days in the spotlight, watching her grow into her role has been heartwarming. From her early school days to learning all those intricate royal protocols, Charlotte's story is filled with moments that make her parents and the public smile in admiration. Remember her first big move from Wilcox's nursery to Thomas's Battersea? That was such a huge step for her. Can you imagine being that young and having your school transition discussed by the entire world? Most of us barely made it through our own first day of school without wanting to run back to our parents, but Charlotte handled it like a little pro. She was all set to join her big brother George at big school, and just the thought of those two going off together must have made William and Kate's hearts swell. It was a proud moment for sure, and one that made the world go, "Oh, they grow up so quickly." Now, those first public appearances were everything. You could already see the confident little spark in her, the one that's kind of become her signature now. And let's not forget those adorable photos William and Kate shared when she was leaving nursery in 2018. Honestly, if you didn't melt a little looking at those, are you even human? The way she stayed composed and poised even when all eyes were on her was just so endearing. Of course, her parents were always right there, giving her that gentle guidance and reassurance. Isn't it sweet how they always seem to know when she needs just a little nudge or a comforting smile? Speaking of learning the ropes, or in her case, royal protocols, Charlotte has absolutely nailed it. Can you imagine being a kid and having to remember all those formal greetings, waves, and traditions while the world watches? Handshakes, it's a lot. But Charlotte took it all in stride, like when she curtsied perfectly during Queen Elizabeth II's funeral. That was such a moment. Imagine being so young and understanding the gravity of such a solemn event. And then there was Kate's comforting hand on her back. That moment just said everything, didn't it? It was like, even when things got heavy, her mom was right there to support her. But here's the thing, it's not just about following protocols or making appearances. It's about how Charlotte learned to handle the attention. And wow, did she learn quickly. There was a time in 2019 when she cheekily stuck out her tongue at the crowds during that sailing regatta. Body language experts always point out how confident and independent she is. You can see it in the way she often walks at public events without holding her parents' hands. Fast forward to her more recent appearances, like that together at Christmas Carol service. She was so poised, so aware of everything she needed to do. It was honestly kind of impressive. That transformation, from a curious toddler learning the ropes to this young girl who just gets it, is pretty amazing. And you can bet William and Kate are beyond proud of her. They beam with pride, and you can totally feel it, especially when she handles tricky situations with a level of maturity that seems way beyond her years. Let's talk about her relationship with her brothers for a second. She's kind of like a mini-mom, but in the most endearing way possible. They call her the Lewis Whisperer for a reason. It's like she has this magical ability to keep little Prince Louis in check. Can you imagine trying to get a 4-year-old to behave at official events with cameras flashing everywhere? But somehow, Charlotte manages it with just a gentle hint here, a little nudge there. She'll reach out and hold his hand or whisper a quick reminder when she sees him getting a little too playful. And it's not like she's bossy. It's more like she genuinely cares about him. Isn't that the sweetest thing? And Louis, oh boy, he just adores her. He watches her closely and loves to copy whatever she does. It's like she's his role model in kid form. If Charlotte's standing still and waving properly, you can bet Louis is 2 seconds away from doing the same. It's like a little game they play, but one that somehow works to keep everything running smoothly. It makes you wonder, how does such a young kid already have this knack for guiding her younger brother? And it's not just Louis she keeps an eye on. She's got her big brother George in her sights, too. At public events, you can often see her glancing over to make sure everything's okay. It's almost like she's got this radar for family dynamics. She knows when to step in and when to just let things be. She's like the unspoken little coordinator of the siblings, making sure no one strays too far from the plan. It's kind of incredible to think how someone so young can naturally take on that role, isn't it? But her role doesn't stop at just wrangling her brothers. Charlotte also has a big presence during family events, and her maturity is starting to shine more and more. What's fascinating is how Charlotte's personality is even influencing William and Kate's parenting style. It's like they've adapted to her natural independence and caring nature. They're not just raising their kids to follow rules, they're raising them to express their emotions and have open conversations. That's pretty modern for a royal family, right? It shows that William and Kate really get that each of their kids has a unique personality and deserves to be supported in their own way. Charlotte's strength and leadership haven't made her parents forget that she's still a kid, though. They make sure she gets to enjoy her own interests, whether it's ballet classes or outdoor adventures. They plan family activities that let her personality shine while also making sure her brothers get the attention they need. It's a balancing act, but it's one that seems to work really well. When you think of royals, you picture a life that sounds overly formal and distant. But then, there's this emotional side. William couldn't hide his tears, even though she's a princess. Now, things might change as she grows into royal life. It's about navigating that change, but William and Kate ensure she feels valued no matter what. Princess Charlotte's early years are preparing her for the future while also embracing her natural gifts of leadership. And honestly, isn't that a breath of fresh air? It feels like they're setting her up to thrive. Prince William and Kate are striking this really delicate balance, juggling 2 completely different worlds at once. They have to get her ready for the whole royal life thing, but at the same time, they want her to have the freedom to explore a life beyond the palace walls. It's kind of like preparing someone to live on 2 different planets. Seriously, how do you even do that? Well, they're definitely giving it a shot. From the outside, it looks like they're building a game plan that's both rooted in royal tradition and open to modern possibilities. You know, like that perfect mix of old and new, sort of like combining a classic vintage dress with a pair of trendy sneakers. And it makes sense, right? Charlotte is third in line to the throne, that's a big deal. But what if she doesn't end up ruling? What if she wants to follow a completely different path? The plan William and Kate are laying out keeps her options wide open. Preparing her for royal duties isn't just about teaching her to wave to crowds or smile for photos. Oh no, it goes way beyond that. They're giving her some seriously specialized training, stuff that most of us could only dream of. She's learning things like tactical driving, and she might even get training from the Special Air Service, SAS. And there's more. She's also getting a solid grounding in things like international relations and constitutional history. Sounds intense, right? But it makes sense. After all, her future could involve meeting world leaders, understanding diplomacy, and navigating complexities that would make most people's heads spin. It's like they're giving her a tool belt with everything she might need, just in case. And you know what's really interesting? William and Kate are making it pretty clear that they don't want Charlotte to feel trapped by her royal title. They're genuinely hoping she'll grow up expecting to have a career, not just be a full-time royal. That's a huge shift from the way things used to be. Remember how it was for previous generations? Royals were pretty much locked into their roles. But not Charlotte. William and Kate are setting the stage for her to carve out her own path. So whether Charlotte grows up to take on full-time royal duties or does something no one's even thought of yet, one thing's clear, she's being given every chance to thrive. And isn't that what every kid deserves, royal or not?